Think about this for a second. In just the last 2 years, we've created more data than in all of human history combined. It's just staggering. Now, this isn't just digital junk, it's a gold mine of insights, a totally new kind of natural resource. And the key to unlocking all that potential? It's a field that's changing our world as we speak: data science. So, what exactly is this powerful force, and how is it really changing everything?
For centuries, science moved forward in a pretty predictable way. First, we observed things, then we developed theories, and later we got the incredible power of computers. But the legendary computer scientist Jim Gray, he saw a new revolution coming. He called it the fourth paradigm, a world where new discoveries happen directly from the mind-boggling amount of data we collect. This isn't just another tech tool, it's a completely different way of finding answers.
So, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down. We'll start with what data science really is, then get into why it matters so much right now. We'll peek behind the curtain at the actual process, check out some incredible real-world examples, and then we'll look ahead to the data-driven future that's being built as we speak. All right, so when you hear the term data science, what should actually pop into your head? Let's get right to it. At its heart, data science is really a mashup. It's not just one thing. It takes the solid foundation of statistics, adds the power of computer science, and, in this part is absolutely crucial, it mixes in deep expertise in a specific area, like healthcare or finance. That unique combination is what lets us make sense of all kinds of data, whether it's sitting nicely in a spreadsheet or it's messy stuff like images, text, and videos. Yeah, a great way to picture it is like being a detective handed a massive, massive puzzle. You've got all these different pieces of information. They're basically clues, and your job is to find the hidden patterns and connect the dots to reveal a bigger story that no one could see before. And that right there is the whole point. Data science isn't about collecting data just for the sake of it. The real magic is transforming that raw, chaotic information into something useful. A real-world solution, a smarter business move, or maybe even a life-saving medical breakthrough. Okay, so we've got a definition. But that doesn't really explain the hype, does it? Why is data science suddenly one of the most talked about fields in the world? Why does it matter so much, right now? Well, it boils down to three huge reasons. First, it lets us move past just gut feelings and instead make big decisions based on actual evidence. Second, it's almost like having a crystal ball. It gives us this incredible ability to predict future trends, everything from what customers will buy to when a machine might break down. And finally, and this is a real game changer, the power of data science isn't just for huge corporations anymore. The tools are becoming available to pretty much everyone. What's really fascinating here is the cultural impact this has had. Harvard Business Review famously called the data scientist role the sexiest job of the 21st century. And look, that's not just hype. It really shows the massive demand and the deep transformative power this field has in literally every industry you can think of. But how does this all happen? How do you get from a mess of data to a clear insight? Well, it's not magic. It's a structured, disciplined process. Let's walk through the steps. Think of it like a recipe for baking a cake or a detective's step-by-step method for cracking a case. This structured approach, we call it a workflow, makes sure the results are solid, repeatable, and that they actually solve the problem you started with. So this workflow usually has about 7 key stages. It always starts with defining the problem, like what question are we actually trying to answer? Then we go get the data. Now, step 3, data prep. Honestly, this is where most of the work happens. Real-world data is always messy, so this is where we clean it all up. After that, we explore the data for any interesting patterns, we build a predictive model, and we test it like crazy to make sure it's accurate. Finally, and this is so important, we have to communicate what we found and actually deploy the solution so it can have an impact in the real world. Okay, that's the theory, but where is this stuff actually making a difference? Let's look at data science out in the wild. In healthcare, the impact is, and I'm not exaggerating, revolutionary. Imagine a hospital system that can predict a deadly infection hours before a doctor even sees the symptoms, just by analyzing patient data. That's data science. It's also the engine behind personalized medicine, where treatments aren't one-size-fits-all anymore, but are tailor-made for your unique genetic code. Now, in the world of finance, it's all about two things: security and speed. Machine learning algorithms are sifting through millions of transactions every second, spotting fraud with a level of accuracy a human just couldn't match. It's also what powers those super fast algorithmic trading systems that pretty much run the modern stock market. And you experience data science every single time you shop online. You know those recommendation engines that somehow know exactly what you want to buy next? Yep, that's data science analyzing your clicks. That dynamic pricing that changes based on how many people want something, that's data science too. And as you can see here, its reach goes way beyond just those examples. We're talking about everything from precision farming in agriculture, using satellite data to get better crops, to analytics in sports that make athletes better, to finding threats in cybersecurity. Data science is changing the game in pretty much every field imaginable. So, where is all of this headed? If this is what data science is doing today, what on earth does the future hold? Well, we're in the middle of this trend called datafication, which is just a fancy way of saying we're turning things that used to be invisible into data. Think about your smartwatch tracking your sleep, or a smart factory where every machine is reporting on its own health. We are measuring our world in ways we never, ever thought possible. And here is where things get really interesting. When you combine this constantly growing ocean of data with the explosive power of artificial intelligence, you create this perfect storm of innovation. This partnership is going to unlock abilities that will redefine entire industries and reshape our lives in ways we're only just starting to imagine. So, you see, the big question isn't just about the technology itself. As our world gets more and more datafied, the real question is about what we choose to do with it. What decisions, what parts of our society are we going to empower with these incredible new insights? The future isn't just data-driven. It's going to be driven by the choices we make with that data.